off at the seven stages of contemplation or meditation upon impermanence last week. So now today we are going to begin with the defects of samsara. So this is the chapter 3, the overall chapter 3, and we will be going through these defects of samsara. So I will just read through the book, and then if there is some explanation needed, I will point out. I will just read the book. So if you have the same book, it's page number 61, chapter 3, the defects of samsara. So there is a homage made to the peerless teacher. Okay, after this there is the motivation. Listen to this chapter with the same attitude as so the motivation which we already set out with. Now we will begin with the sufferings of samsara in general. The sufferings of samsara in general. As I pointed out already, we may now have a life endowed with the freedoms and advantages which are so difficult to find, but it will not last for long. We will soon fall under the power of impermanence and death. If after that we just disappeared like a fire burning out or water evaporating, everything would be over. But after death we do not vanish into nothing. We are forced to take a new birth, which means that we will still be in samsara and nowhere else. The term samsara, the wheel or round of existence, is used here to mean going round and round from one place to another in a circle, like a potter's wheel or the wheel of a watermill. When a fly is trapped in a closed jar, no matter where it flies, it cannot get out. Likewise, whether we are born in the higher or lower realms, we are never outside samsara. The upper part of the jar is like the higher realms of the gods and men, and the lower part like the three unfortunate realms. It is said that the samsara is a circle because we turn round and round and round, taking rebirth in one after another of the 6 realms as a result of our own actions, which, whether positive or negative, are tainted by clinging. We have been wandering since beginningless time in these samsaric worlds in which every being, without exception, has had relations of affection, enmity, and indifference with every other being. So this is affection towards loved ones, animosity or enmity towards our people we dislike, and indifference toward other strangers. Everyone has been everyone else's father and mother. In the sutras, it is said that if you wished to count back the generations of mothers in your family, saying she was my mother's mother, her mother was so and so on, using little pellets of earth as big as a juniper berry to count them, the whole earth would be used up before you had counted them all. As Lord Nagarjuna says, we would run out of earth trying to count our mothers with balls of clay the size of juniper berries. So a little explanation here. So the reason that we say mother sentient beings, and also the reason that we say all the sentient beings have been our mother and father countless number of times. So the reason behind it. So to establish all sentient beings as being our parents, our mothers or fathers, first we have to go to another fundamental of Buddhism, which is afterlife. So if there is afterlife, then there is past life. So we are all sure, we can be pretty certain that when we die, our body decomposes, the physical body. If we bury them, it rots. If we burn them, then it's turned into ashes. So that means the body that we now have does not belong to our previous lives. The body, it is certain that the body came from our parents. But as we discussed in our meditation earlier, I am not my body. There is a me, there is a I, there is a self, which is occupying the body. And that me didn't come out of nowhere. It didn't come out of the blue. It didn't appear suddenly.
Blue?
Out of the blue means just all of a sudden. Yeah. It didn't come. So just like the body, our body has to come out from the seed from our parents, the mind that we the mind that we are the mind that we possess, the me that is occupying the body, also has to come from a cause. So this physical body, which is this physical body that we occupy, this physical body which is 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, is 50, 70 kilograms. So that body was once just a tiny little speck of fluid.
What is fluid, Rinpoche? I don't
Fluid is a liquid, as the sperm.
yes.
Just like the tiny seed of a big, huge banyan tree, this huge body also comes from a tiny seed. And similarly, the mind that we occupy, which has so many distractions, which has so many knowledge, which has so many thoughts, plannings, desires, wishes, disappointments, these thoughts, these minds also have a, earlier stage. It has a cause. So just like this physical body comes from the small speck of fluid from our parents, which also, that speck of fluid from our parents came from their own body, which was once a small speck of fluid. And so this goes back, to beginningless time. Similarly, our mind also originated from another mind, from another mind, and from another mind, from different lives. So each time we die, after the death, we were born, and each time when we were born, we are born through our parents, with help from our parents. So each time we die, each time there is an end to this life, there is a beginning to the another life. So in every life, there is to begin a new life, there has to be someone who facilitates that beginning of life, which are the parents. So since the me, or the consciousness that I or me possesses or occupies is beginningless, my birth are also beginningless. And so since it's beginningless, it is also infinite, it is also countless. So each time I'm born into a human realm as a mammal, as an animal, whenever we were born in the form realm, we need a parent, we need a mother and a father. So long story short, since our lives, since our births are infinite, our parents are also infinite, and so therefore we need. There is no alternative, but the all sentient beings has to be our parents. However unbelievable or incredulous it may seem, we have to accept that since our births and lives were infinite, our parents were also infinite, and so therefore there is no other way but to include all our all the sentient beings as being our parents once. However improbable it may seem, we have no other conclusions. Oh yeah. Okay. So now, since our parents in these lives were kind to us, and the gratefulness, the kindness that we owe towards them, the kindness that they have bestowed towards us in this lifetime were countless, were unparalleled. It goes the same with all our previous lives. Anyway, let me continue with the reading here. So there is not a single form of life that we have not taken throughout beginningless samsara until now. Our desires have led us innumerable times to have our heads and limbs cut off. Were we to try to pile up in one place all the limbs that we have lost, when we were ants and other small insects, the pile would be higher than Mount Meru. The tears that we have wept from cold, hunger, and thirst when we were without food and clothing, had they not all dried up, it would make an ocean larger than all the great oceans surrounding the world. Even the amount of molten copper we have swallowed in the hells would be vaster than the 4 great oceans. And yet, all beings bound to the realms of samsara by their desired attachment, with never an instant remorse, will have to undergo still more sufferings in this endless circle. Even were we able, through the fortunate result of some virtuous action, to obtain the long life, perfect body, wealth, and glory of Indra. Indra is the god of the gods. Or Brahma. Brahma is the creator of the world. So this is according to Hinduism. So Hinduism is a religion that precedes Buddhism in India. So therefore, many of the examples given in Buddha Dharma, Buddhist teaching, comes from the Hinduism. So wealth and glory of Indra or Brahma, in the end, we would still not be able to postpone death. And after death, we would again have to experience the sufferings of the lower realms. In this present life, what the little advantages of power, wealth, good health, and other things we enjoy might fool us for a few years, months, or days. But once the effect of whatever good actions caused these happy states is exhausted, whether we want to or not, we will have to undergo poverty and misery, or the unbearable sufferings of the lower realms. So, what meaning is there in that kind of happiness? It is like a dream that just stops in the middle when you wake up. Those who, as the result of some slight positive action, seem to be happy and comfortable at the moment, will not be able to hold on to that state for an instant longer once the effect of that action runs out. The kings or the gods, the kings of the god, which is Indra, seated high on their thrones of precious jewels spread with divine silks, enjoy all the pleasures of the 5 senses, but once their lifespan is exhausted, in the twinkling of an eye they are plunged into suffering and fall headlong down to the scorching metal ground of hell. Even the gods of the sun and moon, who light up the 4 continents, can end up being reborn somewhere between the very continents in darkness so deep that they cannot see whether their own limbs are stretched out or bent in. So, do not put your trust in the apparent joys of samsara. Resolve that in this very life you will free yourself from the great ocean of its sufferings and attain the true and constant happiness of perfect Buddhahood. Make this thought your practice, using the proper methods for the beginning, the main part, and the main part, and the conclusion. Okay, so this is so far what we have read through is known as the general suffering, the general defects of samsara, the general flows of samsara. And so we will conclude it here today, and from next week we will go with the particular sufferings experienced by each of the 6 realms, beginning with the hell realm, which has 18 realms within. So that is what we are going to read through next week, and we will conclude today's teaching here. And then I believe we have many questions from last week as well as this week's. So, okay, you can ask the questions now. Hello, Miss Yen, we have questions from last week, I believe.
Hello, Rinpoche.
Yes.
I can read the question from last week.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, from last week or this week. Yeah. Yeah. Please go on.
Yeah. So there are a couple questions from last week. I will start reading those questions.
Please.
First, straight to Rinpoche. Can you please share the most simple techniques to break the prison walls? Thank you, Rinpoche. This is related to last week's
right.
teaching.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, thank you. So the wall that the questioner is referring to is the wall of samsara, since that is the we were talking about the defects of samsara. because we are sort of engulfed in the impermanent tendencies of samsara. Anyway, so to break that wall, so break out of that wall, break out of that prison wall. So there is a saying, if you want to walk in front of your shadow, then if you want to walk in front of your shadow, then you have to walk the other way. If your shadow is in front of you, and if your goal is to walk in, if your shadow is in front of you, and if you want to walk in front of your shadow, then you have to walk the other way, which is the opposite way. So the same principle applies here. If you want to break away from samsara, you have to do the things that is in exact opposite to what got you into samsara in the first place. So if you have been imprisoned, I mean, even in today's world, this is the same thing, right? When we are imprisoned, if the prisoner behaves well, then they will get an early release for good behavior or something, right? So even though it does not happen everywhere, but there is this possibility. So since the laws that we made, this is the human law, so there's a lot of flaws in there, so it's not perfect, but the laws of karma is perfect. And so therefore, when you engage in actions that is in contrast, that is in direct contrast to which brought you into the prison walls of samsara, then you will be able to break that wall. You will be able to get out of samsara. So basically, what you have to do is, we remember the 10 non-virtuous deeds. So normally we talk about in Tibetan, when we talk about the virtuous deeds, we don't have a sort of a definite name for the virtuous deeds. Each of the virtuous deeds are known by their opposite side, which is the non-virtuous deed. So for example, we don't have a name for the non-virtuous, the virtuous deed. For example, we have a virtuous deed called not killing. So for the non-virtuous deed, we have a name, which has a definite name, which is to killing. But for the non-virtuous deed, we don't say saving a life, we say non-killing. So here, the 10 positive or the virtuous deeds are known by their negation of the negative deed. They are not known by their own original names, but they are known through the names by which it negates its exact opposite, which is the negative deed. So we don't say giving, even though when we count the 10 virtuous deeds, we don't say giving, we say non-stealing, not killing, not lying, so things like that. So it is the negation of what you have done that got you into samsara, which will get you out of samsara the quickest way. I think that's
all the question for today, Rinpoche.
That's all question for today. All right. Okay. That means earlier break. Yep.
Yes, okay. An earlier break for you. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Let's earlier break, and let's contemplate on the teachings that we have just covered, as well as the meditation that we had. earlier before the teaching. So I could make closures to many of the questions that I asked earlier during the meditation. But if I do that, it will just become an intellectual thing. It'll, it will just become an information for you, not really a knowledge or a wisdom that you gain. So that's why I just leave it as it is. I let it remain as a question. So you keep asking that question while contemplating, while meditating upon the meditation that we did earlier. So whatever question that you arise, whatever different experiences that might arise, you can discuss that next week. So I didn't make any closures because there's too much information out there, and all the information that is out there are experiences, shared informations that were shared by people who experienced those realizations or knowledges. So by merely reading or hearing about those experiences, it will just become an information, and it becomes a foreign object. It is not your own thing. So what I would like to encourage is to, contemplate and raise your own thoughts and realization and knowledge through the contemplation. So if there is a question, if there is a doubt, and also if there is a conclusion or a closure that you come to your own, that is also okay. So if you are comfortable with the closure, just remain with that to whatever possible extent that you want to remain. Or if there is a doubt, then you can ask them later on. Okay, this concludes today's session. Thank you. Sorry. So never stress out when you are in a spiritual dilemma. Whenever you have a question, just don't. Whenever you have a question or a doubt or some sort of a dilemma, puzzle, don't stress out. This is a good thing. When you have a question, it means you are going through something. You are hitting something. So if that question comes and then goes away, it's okay. If it keeps popping up again and again, just note it down, and then you can ask me or any other teacher. So questions are a very good thing. Questions usually excite us. It encourages us to go looking for an answer. Answers and closures means, okay, oh, this is it. Okay, that's it then, right? So then you just go to bed and sleep. But if you have a question, then it makes you awake. And this is what we are looking for, right? To be awakened. This is what Buddha means, to be awakened. So in order to be awakened, you need lots of questions. And so these questions and these spiritual dilemmas or, the doubts are very, very important. And this is what we encourage a lot, especially in the Nalanda tradition of Tibetan Buddhism.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche. It was a great experience today about the meditation session. Please continue to do that for the next.
With pleasure, with pleasure. With pleasure. Okay, so let's go to dedication.